So we have a very specific, like, she has a candle business, and it's like a Jewish candle business, like Shabbat candles, like ritual candles, and so it's really dope because they use them every week, and so it's like a subscription-based model, and we've been able to like grow it and stuff. So
wow,
it's pretty solid.
That's pretty
it's
kick-ass.
Cool little thing.
I love that.
But anyway, so downstairs where there's like all that construction happening, that's our new unit. They're like building it out. So
this is really nice.
So in a couple. Hopefully by August 1st, I should be down there. We'll be a little more space. It's a little.
So they're just taking over this entire building, basically.
Who?
Jeff and the team.
No, so it's for Pathfinder for our company. Yeah,
okay.
so it'll be like just a studio, so we won't have Steven in water.
Nice. Is it super expensive to rent space here, or?
No, it wasn't too bad. It's like $2 a square foot.
That's
plus
not bad.
Like all the like power and internet and all that stuff. So that's chill.
Not bad at all.
Nothing crazy. Yeah.
Nice.
So it was like. With everything all in, it was like $1,800. Like with the, I forget what they call it, but like they take care of the stuff, like the cams or something like that. So,
Okay.
So it's not bad.
Yeah.
It's a pretty chill little spot. So
I love it.
Dude, so all right, we've already been recording, so that's just lets
Okay.
you know how casual it is. It's not that
Love
serious.
it.
I like my podcast to just start off on like us talking
Tangents,
about something.
right?
Yeah, something random.
Uh-huh.
So it's called Find Your Path, and it's kind of like most people that have been on here have some level of success. So they've had a journey that they could like kind of share, and it's just pretty much like where you started and how you got to where you're at, and then what you're excited about the future. And I know you got to leave in a little while. Like
I think I got to be out of here by like 2:15ish.
Oh,
so,
dude, yeah, we got plenty of time.
Cool.
Hopefully, yeah, Jeff.
I think he will be because he's. So I'm the chairman of Leadership Las Vegas. This upcoming
so
year.
You were there?
No, I wasn't there
okay.
because, ironically, I'm not allowed to know about anybody that applies for the program or gets selected until I think 3 weeks before we actually launch the actual program. Then I'll get a roster. And Jeff, of course, means a lot to me, but being able to have him. He went through the program back in 2011 for Leadership Las Vegas, and now he is on our selection committee, so he's been going to bat to make sure that we have a really good group of business leaders and executives out there.
Dude, that's sick.
Yeah, and then I'm bringing him back in for the program. We have a part of the program called Life Journey, and Life Journey is a leader that basically mentors and helps lead a small group that's within the class, and I mean they just become really vulnerable, and it's your opportunity to just say, hey, let's have confidential, heart-to-heart conversations. Let's talk about your life, everything that you've been a part of, and just know that you have an additional person right here by your side.
That's sick. So is it like targeted to like business leaders and like
Yeah, so it's typically so Leadership Las Vegas is the 5th largest leadership program in the United States of America.
Whoa, dude, I need to tap into that.
And it's tapped through the Vegas Chamber. So it's a government program, but it's ran through the nonprofit side of the Vegas Chamber.
Okay.
And every year, hundreds of applicants apply for this program.
No way.
And only 60 are accepted. And
whoa, dude, how do I get involved with that?
Hey, look, we'll make sure that you... We'll
You're not allowed now?
No.
Oh, no, we got all the evidence.
No, we'll make sure that you get the application for next year, because I don't think that there's a lot of people that are in the video production or even, audio production business that actually makes it in the program. And they do their best to diversify in different industries.
Cool.
But also different leadership routes. So I think it could definitely benefit you for sure.
Dude, that would be amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been, I need to talk to Jeff about like getting more involved with like the community. I actually was thinking about joining the Chamber of Commerce, so I don't know.
It's I think their lowest model price point that they have is $600 a year, but then your name and your business and your headshot makes it into this, wide Rolodex that everybody that's a chamber member has access to.
Sick.
And they can go down the list and say, shit, I really need somebody for podcasting or for video production, stuff like that.
That
could actually make things happen.
Yeah, dude. I think I forgot, one of the representatives called me. It was like $1,500 or like a quarter or something like that, and I was like, oh, that's reasonable.
Yeah, I think that's like the middle of the program. So I'm a president's chamber member, and that's a little bit more expensive. It's like $6,000 a year, but your year one you get $6,000 back in advertising space with LVRJ.
No way, dude. That's totally worth it. I've just been like, he's been calling me. His guy's name's like Jason or something.
Yeah, or Shane, one of the two.
Yeah. Well, anyways, I need to get on that.
Sorry, see, we just went down another tangent.
I know, we didn't even get started. So usually how it starts is you were born, and then what happened?
Yeah, so I was born in 1986, the best month of the year, October. That's why Halloween is the best time of year. It's my favorite.
Are you Libra gang? Or?
I'm a Libra gang.
Okay.
And cool, when's your birthday?
September 29th.
Nice. So right by me, just 8 days away. I was born in Southern California in Fontana area. My father was a military brat, so that's where my grandparents migrated when they decided to retire and move on. And I moved to Las Vegas when I was 7 years old and have basically been here since. The only time that I ever moved away was for college, and I ended up going to South Florida.
Oh, okay.
And the culture in South Florida is so different compared to what it is here in the West Coast. And I proudly say that we are a pretty diverse side of the United States. We don't naturally deal with a lot of discrimination and deal with a lot of racism. And moving to South Florida, I saw nothing but discrimination and racism, and it made me really uncomfortable. And I had also not been true with myself and come out of the closet yet. So I knew that that was not the place for me. It wasn't the place for me to be my authentic self. So I packed my car back up and moved back west to Las Vegas.
Drove all the way back?
All the way back to Las Vegas after 2 years, and finished school at UNLV and got a degree in construction management. And I can honestly say I haven't used construction management in so many years.
Nice.
Because Las Vegas took the huge hit back in 2010, and all construction stopped, all growth on our strip stopped, and it just made it really tough.
Yeah.
So I got out of that part of the industry and ended up working for a big financial services entrepreneur. He owned 72 different businesses.
Whoa.
And I came in as a director for one of the programs that he was running and ended up moving my way up to being his chief of staff and vice president of administration.
Sick.
And I worked for him for almost 14 years.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's a career.
It was a blessing. He was still one of my nearest and dearest friends. He gave me the leather skin that you need to actually be an entrepreneur and a business leader. He taught me what to do. He taught me things not to do. That's but that's all, we're all human, but he truly gave me the tools for success and helped me lead myself in the way to grow. And a lot of my passions are, and this is why a lot of it means a lot to me, certainly being on the Shine a Light board, was giving back is what's important. If you're fortunate enough to have things in life, you should also consider about giving back to people and industries and organizations or people that are just not doing well. And I can only attribute where I am in my life today because I didn't have a great upbringing. Both of my parents struggled with addiction most of my entire life. And there would be times that they focused on having drugs in their drawers versus milk and cereal, or, if the power bill is going to be turned on and stuff like that. And it was tough. It was tough for me to see. My parents divorced the year I was born. And when I was 16 years old and knew that I could start making my own decisions was when I said, shit, I don't want to be a part of this kind of life. You can decide to live in a small little condo or a trailer park for the rest of your life, or you can create your own path and get off the freeway and create your own future.
100%.
And that's what I've done. And it's super important to me to always give back to those that are vulnerable and need, but also to remind myself where I came from. And it helps with my humble, and it helps remind me who I am.
Yeah, dude. I think I heard this really interesting quote, and it was like, you got to give what you got to get what you got to give. Something like that. And it sounds like very layman, but when you kind of break it down, it was so profound to me the first time I heard it. I was like, whoa, holy crap, that's pretty serious, huh?
Yeah, what else? I also heard another one recently. Oh, it's if you want to go fast, do it alone.
There you go.
If you want to go far, do it with an army.
Let's go.
So always support each other's initiatives, be willing and able to help, but also just finding good people. And Las Vegas is naturally, for many years, it was a very transient city where people came and went so often.
Right.
And a lot of it had to do with our performing arts and, the visas that some of our big, beautiful artists are coming in for, but it all changed when Vegas Golden Knights touched Las Vegas.
Changed the game.
And we have a new unfound culture that we never knew about, and now we have a reason for everybody to get together.
Yeah.
And it's sports.
Yeah, dude. I mean, and people are just flooding here. I mean, property values like skyrocketing. It's insane. The film industry is coming here too, which is really exciting for like our market, and so it's cool, man. So okay, so I imagine when you got your degree in construction, then there was a 2010 shutdown. There was like a level of adversity that you had to pivot. Kind of like take us to that point in time, and kind of how did you overcome that, or decide to look for this new opportunity that kind of paved your way for your success?
I think a word that I always like to use is pivot, because nothing is ever going to be the same. Oh shit,
dude, that's rule number 1.
Literally. Oh
good.
my gosh.
That's
Sorry about that.
Casual it is here. It'll not even get edited out.
I don't even recall who it is. There's that. Hello. So I always say pivot, and not to be afraid to pivot, because things are ever changing every single day, especially here in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And I think as business leaders and CEOs, we tend to, at times in our career paths, get comfortable. And I've made those mistakes of finding comfort and being complacent in what's happening in life, and that's not always good.
No.
So being comfortable with what I was doing and knowing what was happening when it was coming to the future of our, Las Vegas, the economy, everything that was happening, I didn't get in the forefront of it. So that was, I think, the first and last time I'd ever been laid off of a job. My last project that I worked on was the Cosmopolitan of Las Vegas.
Oh, wow.
And I was the director of purchasing for a construction company called Theming Solutions. They were responsible for the Treasure Island pirate ships, responsible for the wind parasols, a bunch of interior design type work. And I was able to work with a company out of India that all of the beads that are actually in the chandelier bar are hand-blown beads from India. That's individually.
Wild. That you ordered or oversaw?
I did not oversee it. I don't think that I'd ever really want to go to India, but I oversaw the project and did the ordering and sourced the actual manufacturer that made them. So that was a lot of fun. But then, the economy just takes a halt.
Yeah.
And construction stops, and if you're not able to buy or sell product, guess what? You're not able to purchase. So the director of purchasing goes right out the door. And I ended up telling myself, shit, I can't make this happen again.
Yeah.
I don't want it to. And I had the opportunity to meet the gentleman that I worked for.
How'd you meet him?
Through a bunch of friends that we had. And his life partner and I knew each other for a few years. And I had seen him as an acquaintance here and there. And he gave me an opportunity and came in, and I saw the opportunity that was there. And he's the type of person that is so generous and so kind. He says, look, I'm just going to provide you the tools. It's up to you to see what your growth is. And
dude, that's the best.
We've done a lot of work together. I helped him and we've supported the LGBT community, we've supported oncology, we've supported veterans, we've supported women's rights, domestic violence, we've supported catastrophe events, everything that you can imagine. Anything that was near and dear to him and his mission, we would do.
Sick,
and it was one of the biggest honors. So doing that, here in Las Vegas, we also launched a product called Club Curry back in 2011. And it was a New Year's Eve party every single year. And we had
Club Curry.
We had, but all of the proceeds went directly to a nonprofit.
That's sick.
That was here locally in Las Vegas, and that's when I got my hands into giving back to nonprofits, and
that's sick.
Really understood that it meant a lot to give back. So I had the honor of helping him run his family foundation, helping him run his annual charity event, and give back to all kinds of different resources that actually needed it, and that's where I got my passion in the nonprofit world.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So you got this great opportunity, turned into a 14-year-long career, groomed you for success and to, go out and take over the world. So how'd you transition out of that, and what was that process like, or what inspired you to be like, I gotta do something bigger, better?
So he ended up selling a big piece of his large enterprise and identified that after his term was almost up, he was going to resign as the chairman and CEO of the organization. And 9 times out of 10, when you look at an executive team that works for a CEO and an executive team that manages some of their personal life, when a new CEO comes on, it's probably written on the wall already that your time is limited. And I've never been the type of person that I want my destiny to be in anybody else's hands but my own. So when I knew that he was getting ready to leave, I decided that it was time for me to leave and take on other opportunities. And within that time frame, I took almost a year to
sabbatical.
Yeah, but also I was still working on other projects and with other organizations, but I had this idea in my mind. I wanted to launch a lifestyle management company. I took all of the skill set, all of the education, all of the training, all of everything that he provided me and the tools that he provided me, and I wanted to create my own product to support the high worth, support celebrities, support sports players, agents, corporations, other chief executives, and create a product that we're able to support them, whether it's personally in their home or at the business front. We could do it. And in March of 21, I launched Lux Lifestyle Managers, which is an extension of my company, the Emergent Group, and we're a hospitality management firm. We do everything from private events, we do corporate events, we do. We're getting ready to launch a wedding platform side of it. It's definitely not my niche, but I have somebody on my team that loves wedding planning and organization of all of that. So awesome. Shout out to you, Megan. Can't wait to have you here in Vegas for this.
And empowering, you got to empower the team.
Yeah, so I don't want to hinder anybody, especially if they have an idea of something that is going to help us grow and put ourselves out there more.
Yeah.
So it's been really cool. So we just passed our third anniversary.
Let's go.
And some of the relationships and clients that we've been able to afford and acquire has just been, it's a pinch me moment still every single day.
Let's go, dude. Yeah. That's awesome. So what are you stoked about, or what is super exciting for you? You just hit your 3-year anniversary. Maybe what's the next 3 years look for you, and what are you just super stoked about?
With this transition and always being a business leader and owner, to me, I think that it's always important to be innovative and to focus on what could be and to kind of look into a crystal ball and say what could be in the future. And Las Vegas is growing exponentially.
100%.
We have sports that are just continuing to arrive. We're getting ready to get the A's here, and I think that they're going to break ground here as soon as Tropicana implodes. Right. And I heard that that's the first week of October.
Oh, wow.
That's happening.
Birthday weekend.
Yep, exactly. So, we got to get there so we can watch it. But what's in store for us? So we work with the NFL. We were able to humbly take on a relationship with them back in 21 that put us in the telescope of theirs or their future vision to help them manage a lot of their players and executive staff. And so year one, we managed all 88 players of the Pro Bowl that came to Las Vegas.
Wow.
And people that get selected for the Pro Bowl are the best of the best.
Yeah.
And then they come in for a fun game that they just toy around with and just really get to relax. And so for 2 years, we did the Pro Bowl games here in Las Vegas. Then they tapped us to come in and support the top 21 prospects that were being drafted at the NFL draft.
Go.
And then also we ran the celebrity management on the red carpet for them.
Wow. What does that consist of, dude? So, let's say I don't even know, Tom Brady. Let's say I'm Tom Brady. Lux is taking care of me. What do? I just get off the plane and then
I mean, it all really depends. It depends on how much you actually want us to be involved. A lot of times it's restaurant reservations, it's hard sought after show tickets. We really and also don't burn a bridge.
Right.
So we pride ourselves in our relationships. I have almost every GM in my back pocket that's here at a Las Vegas restaurant. And then we have great relationships with a lot of our concert and show producers like Live Nation, AEG, stuff like that. So the shows like Adele, you can't get tickets to without paying $2,000-$3,000 for a ticket.
Right.
Well, we can help make that happen.
Let's go for the squad.
All of those different things. So we do a lot of curation for many different people. It could be private jet charters, it could be helicopters, it can be car transportation, it can be show tickets, it could be private dinners, it could be, celebrations for many different things, big events that happen. The way that we explain ourselves to those that are unfamiliar is that we can either make sure that you have the right Charmin toilet paper in your bathroom or run a strategy session in your boardroom. Anything in between that we have covered for you.
Dude, that's awesome.
And what makes us so unique that is different from a typical concierge company that sits in the Las Vegas hotels is we are here to take care of you before you arrive, should you want it. Right. And we can also take care of you after you leave.
Dude.
These hotels only want you if you're spending money in their venue.
Right.
And we want to make everything seamless for you. If you need car service from, Missoula, Montana to get yourself to the airport or to your jet, we can help you book that. And then your car service here upon arrival.
Let's go.
So, you name it, we've done it. We do it for them. Of course, all within code of conduct.
Right.
Luckily and gratefully, we haven't been asked to do anything outside of that scope.
Dude.
And Vegas is Vegas. So,
so that's. I have a buddy who has a concierge service. It's called like Whale Life. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. His name is Jimmy DeCanio. I went to high school with him, so I kind of just know him. And he's hooked me up with a lot of his high-end clients. One of which is Dan Balzerian, and he said one time, he's like, dude, he like called me up in the middle of the night. He was in Hawaii, and he's like, I need my testosterone. I didn't bring it. And he's like, so I had to have one of my guys like basically smuggle testosterone to like Hawaii for him. And I was like, whoa, dude, that's kind of like sketchy, Like, I don't know if I would do that. If you called me, I'd be like, I'm not doing that,
Yeah, but that's not even really, if it's a prescribed medicine, it's not really a problem. They're not looking at stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I actually recently went through an airport tour, and they're not looking for drugs. They're
What?
looking for
bombs.
They're looking for bombs. They're looking for firearms. They're looking for things that could be a potential dangerous threat.
What? They're not looking for drugs?
Not necessarily. It was so weird to have heard that. We're not here to make sure that if you have weed on you or other substance, or they're not looking for small batches of anything. They're looking for things that weight limits, something that could have triggered the dogs or just looked funny within your suitcase.
Wow.
That could be different. Yeah, they're not naturally looking for stuff like that. But also, if you have a prescription for something, it doesn't matter.
Wow.
It's not going to hurt you.
That's wild. Yeah. Jeff was just telling me a story. I had the same experience. I went like out shooting and I left like a case of bullets in my backpack. And I only have one backpack and it was that one. And so I forgot it was in there. It was just like on the outside pocket too. It wasn't even like hidden or anything. Yeah. And so I'm on my way to shoot and I don't remember like Houston or something. And I'm late for the flight, like, not super late, but boarding is soon. And they pull me over and they're like, hey, we got to look through your bag. And I was like, what's the situation? Case of bullets. I was like, oh no, dude, I'm going to jail. Like, I'm gonna have to call my client. Like, this is terrible. And then they held me for like 30 minutes. Made the flight, but I got a letter from Homeland Security that was like, hey, this was a warning. Like, don't do it again, or
if you do, then
face fines up to $200,000.
And could be on the no-fly list, so you'll be driving everywhere you have to go.
It's terrible.
Which really sucks. Yeah. I actually had a buddy that I was traveling with, or he and his wife and my husband and I, we were traveling and coming back from Miami, and we tied one off. We certainly enjoyed ourselves, but he had a stack of cash on him, and one of the police dogs came by. And listen, only God knows what is, consumed with this cash, what people have done with it. But the dog kind of got tipped off that there was something suspicious.
Oh, no way.
And so then they asked him to open his bag, and why do you have all this cash on you? All these things. And he's like, well, I had a good night last night. Went out to one of the clubs and enjoyed, and I didn't spend it all. So, that's what it was. But it's so weird that they pick and choose what they want to
what's like a flag. Yeah.
But I could definitely understand a bullet for sure.
Gunpowder?
Yeah, something like
probably
that
dangerous.
Could be of concern, yeah.
Anyways, dude, where were you? So yeah, concierge service is awesome. You probably get to do a lot of really cool people, or a lot of really cool things for a lot of really cool people.
Yeah, I don't any longer get starstruck by anybody that I deal with, whether it's a huge top Fortune 100 chief executive, Tim Cook from Apple, stuff like that. He's been in my presence.
Wow.
And one of the coolest things to do, but then also, the Tom Brady's, the Patrick Mahomes out there, the other celebrities that we've dealt with. It's really cool. And at the end of the day, they're really down-to-earth people.
That's awesome. Do you ask them for advice or anything, or just regular communicate? You don't want to try to...
Regular communication, they are so often pulled every which direction, right. And they're often not treated like humans, that it's in our core values to make sure that you're treated like a human and seen as a human. We're here to provide a service for you.
Right.
The amount of times that I've had friends and family like, can you get an autograph for me? I've never even asked for an autograph for myself.
I mean,
but I also don't need to.
Right.
I would rather have
a relationship.
The relationship and the satisfaction that we actually got something done together, or I was able to help make something right for you that made your day better.
100%, dude. I mean, I've gotten to film a lot of celebrities and stuff too, and it's the same. I'm never like, hey, what's the most valuable lesson you ever learned?
Yeah.
Although that's literally my want to go to question, but it's never the right time or place.
For sure.
If there was the time or place, that's probably what I would ask.
Yeah, no, that's actually a really good question to ask, and I probably should do that more with the established relationships that I have.
Yeah.
I just never think to. I always just try to keep my head straight
well,
forward.
That's probably best. Dude.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what's the most valuable lesson you've ever learned?
Oh, well, shit. I learned a lot of lessons. I think that as you grow and evolve as a business leader and as somebody that is in the forefront of the community, I think that it's really important to always know that, like I said before, everything's ever changing, but never get too comfortable, for sure. I lost my very first 6-figure client this year, and this was just right after Q1, and I had made a bunch of big business moves and decisions that we wanted to make to help us scale up and grow a little bit. And like I said, I was complacent. I was comfortable.
Yeah.
I thought that everything was great, and it allowed me to negatively impact the business.
Yeah.
And you never want to do that.
Yeah, I've had very similar experiences like that. Just losing clients that you are not following up with as much or taking care of as often as you need to. So now I've and it's probably not healthy, but when everything's calm in the water, I tell my team all right, go through our list and ask every single person what they need. What can I do for you?
Yeah.
And that kind of has combated that and mitigated it. I mean, in our line of service, we've our average kind of retainer client lasts 11 months, and we always never burn the bridge, maintain long-term communication, because always, even though maybe they're on a retainer for 11 months, in a couple months they'll be like, hey, we're doing an event, we need this video production done, or we're doing ads for this product, we need these videos. So always maintain the relationship aspect of it, but
always.
I think in my line of business, the way we've combated that, churn is basically just always sell. Always have a sales process going.
Yep.
Marketing, sales, whatever, setters, closers, and then just continue to keep that steady. And that makes me feel secure. It's all right, my security's intact.
And that you're looking in the forefront of business development and following up. That's really unique that you said that to me, because I'm a part of a CEO group called the CEO Tribe. Mm-hmm. And this is a group where up to 16 like-minded CEOs all have a seat at the table. Mm. And we meet every month together for 7 hours, and we bring our financials, and we talk about, talk about getting caught with your pants down and vulnerability and being able to be together. But you're able to sit around a group of other CEOs that are all in different industries. They do that purposely, so there's no competition, or we're not sitting back taking notes on how we can do better than Joe down the street. Yeah. But I learned from that it's really cool to be able to converse and have a business relationship with other like-minded business professionals and CEOs, because we've all likely been through a scenario that they're going through and can help each other with feedback. Yeah. And naturally, I think CEOs are alpha, and we always, when you propose a opportunity or a challenge that you're going through, we naturally always want to say, well, this is why this happened.
Right.
We always want to have a rebuttal, and we always have an excuse for it. And this program that we're a part of, you're not allowed to come back with a rebuttal. You're not allowed to say, this is why.
That's a really cool rule.
You have to say thank you.
Wow.
Thank you for your feedback. Thank you for your suggestions. All of these different things. And it's made it really cool, but it's also humbled me down a little bit. Sometimes you just need to be quiet and listen, because then that can help you grow and help you with some sort of decision making as a leader. And it's been really rewarding to be a part of something like that, but to also know that I have people that I can lean on in that same sort of way. Also, to don't ever call your business your baby. Ever. Don't say, this is my baby, it means so much to me, because you want to create your business so you can sell it in the future. You want to become more profitable and do something. And I was so emotionally tied to my business, thinking that without my business I will never go on. And it taught me to remove that emotional connection and understand that decisions are decisions and business decisions are not personal.
100%, dude. I love that, what you said too about that group sounds really interesting too, because the way I look at you know, Jeff as a mentor, and I have a handful of other mentors, and they've seen patterns longer, and so when you like, you know, explain a situation, they could poke holes in the plan, and it's not, again, emotional or personal. It's like, hey, we've been through this pattern, and this is what I see based on what you're going through, and I've gone through something like that, so this potentially could help. And so with my wife, we're, you know, when the people closest to you tend to not listen. Someone down the street tells you something, you're like, oh yeah, that's genius. So my wife, whenever I'll like, you know, see something like a pattern, I'll be like, hey, look, full disclosure, this is not negative vibes. It's not like, I'm just observing a pattern, and I want you to, like, you know, I don't know the best way to tell you, but this is how it should be, or this is maybe not how it should be, this is what I'm seeing. And that kind of like pre-frame helps kind of lower the guard a little bit. I mean, marriage is different.
Especially in marriages or even in family situations, the last thing that you want to do is hear feedback or advice from your spouse. Or I mean, I can't tell you how many times I'm like, who died and made you the subject matter expert here? You know, but it's just because we don't want to deal with that additional feedback and add on to it. We're already going through it on our own. So being able to learn how to communicate in a better way with your spouse is huge, and to take a step back and say, okay, this is just constructive, it's not personal, but we still take it personal.
Yeah, you're still like, gotta like, you know, work through that emotion, taper it down, and then you're like, all right, maybe this makes sense a little bit here.
For sure.
She says that all the time. Like, if like Jeff or somebody tells me something, I'll be like, oh, they just told me this, I think it's profound. And she's like, I've been telling you that for 6 months.
Yeah, I didn't hear you though. I think you're on mute.
Literally. Yeah.
Sorry if you're watching this.
No, she's all right. We talk about all kinds of stories on here.
I love it.
She'll get over it. I'll deal with the heat and we'll move on.
Don't worry. I'm going to get it too, so we'll at least be in the doghouse together.
Yeah. Oh, dude. So, all right. So you're part of all these masterminds or groups. That's like super awesome. What kind of inspired you to get involved with that? Is it like just, I don't know, did you take that away from your mentor? Or, yeah.
For sure. I for sure took it away from my mentor. He actually put me through a program called the Arbinger Institute many, many years ago. And it's an organization and it's a coaching program to help business executives and other leaders out there to learn how to communicate a little bit more effectively and to also humble yourself down a little bit. And I think that that's where that passion for learning came, but also passion to always grow and change. Our brains are still forming as we age every single day. And you're doing yourself a disservice if you think that just everything's fine, that you're not reading a book, that you're not listening to, you know, a biography or some sort of self-help book to learn different ways to communicate, to strategize, to be a better person. And I learned earlier on that you should be able to be in a place with like-minded people, but also other people that are successful. Yeah. And being a part of programs like Leadership
just like always, you don't know what you don't know, right? It's like, what don't I know about this? If someone's telling you something, it's like, well, okay, well, what don't I know? Like,
For sure.
Let me learn more about this before I could form an opinion. Like, if someone tells me something and I think it's not true, like, well, why?
Yeah.
And then learn more, like, you know? So I'm, dude, avid, like, adamant, like, carnivore of books, bro. I devour books. So, like, I read a new book probably every 2 weeks. I read an hour in the morning and then an hour at night, and it's just profound, like, how much you get through. And I listen to audios all day. I don't listen to music. I'm in, like, this thing called the Global Information Network. It's the same thing, kind of like a... It's not as, like, the events... They have, like, quarterly events, but I don't really go to all of them. I should. But anyways, yeah, dude, growing is just mandatory. It's like I'm addicted to growing, and you can't not grow because
if you're not growing, somebody else next to you is growing and taking chances and shots that you're missing out on. And that's the disservice that you're doing to yourself. If you want to be a business leader, if you want to make it to the top, you want to do all these things, don't just sit back while you're watching the person next to you continue to climb.
Yeah.
Because you want to climb as well.
Yeah.
And things are changing every single day. Innovation, technology, just the way that times are. I mean, you know, we're moving out of millennials. We're moving into the Gen Z world that's coming in and taking over. And it's like we need to start conforming to a lot of things that are happening, because if not, they're going to take over.
Yeah, the market's kind of the, you know, the end-all be-all, really, the market. And I say that to people, too. It's like, you know, we have a sense of value within ourselves that's, you know, intrinsic. Like, everybody is valuable.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, the market is going to dictate what's valuable. Like, if you're offering something and the market's not buying it, then maybe you need to readjust something. Like,
For
you know, like, so I, you know, I get caught in that, too, a level of humbleness. Like, okay, if, what can I do to make myself that valuable? Instead of, you know, being like, well, they don't know anything.
Never be afraid to invest in yourself, because you will always be your largest fan, your biggest protector, biggest supporter. If you don't invest in yourself, nobody else will.
Dude, mandatory. I love that.
For
so,
sure.
yeah, get in the chambers, get into the leadership group. What else, dude? What other advice can you give? You're born in 87?
86.
86?
Yep.
You're only 4 years older than me.
Okay.
What would you give some advice to a young man like me?
Young man, wow. Making me feel real senior. No, it's great.
We were in high school at the same time.
Literally, at least 1 year.
Yeah.
The overlapping year of me senior, you as a freshman. I would say always follow your passions. I've been a huge proponent and believer in following your gut too, because your gut is typically always right. Don't burn bridges. Always make sure that you keep your brand and your vision of who you are at the top. You know, because having a brand for your business but also yourself is huge. It's like having a credit score.
It is.
And you can't negatively impact businesses or, you know, relationships that you have, especially here in Las Vegas, because although we have over 2 million people that make up of Las Vegas, it's such a small city. Everybody knows everybody. Everybody. In some form or fashion. Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah, my wife says that to me all the time. We go out and all the time someone's like here. But I grew up here too. Probably the same amount of time. I was born in 90 and we moved here in like 91. So like it's been like 30, 3 years of compounding relationships and, not being
Where'd you go to high school?
Centennial.
Centennial. Okay. I went to basic. So
okay.
The Mormon hood. For sure.
But yeah.
So. Also, you got to make sure that you always invest in yourself to continue to grow. Just like stuff like this, always look at coursework, always look at developmental programs to better yourself. Never be afraid to ask for help. I think as sometimes, especially as small business owners like we are, we become very prideful and we become, in this alpha way that we never want to ask for things. And if you think about all of the most successful people in the world, they're successful because they delegate things to be done.
Yeah.
So don't sit back and think that you're capable of doing everything. The whole song, I try to carry the weight of the world, but I only have 2 hands.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes you need 8 hands. Sometimes you need an octopus around you to help you keep things going.
An army.
Yeah. I mean, think about celebrities. They have people that make their meals. They have people driving them everywhere. But it's giving them time back so they can focus on the next thing. And what do you want to do? Become more successful and make more damn money.
Yeah. Dude, I'm reading a book called 10X is Easier Than 2X right now. And it's pretty much like expanding on that same topic, which is inspiring me too, because it's like, what is the 80% of the day-to-day stuff that is like bogging me down that I should be delegating?
Yeah.
And a lot of it is more of the operations side. Like this us connecting, this is a part of the 20%. Me going to networking events, going to the leadership stuff, that's 20% that I need to be diving into more, opposed to just dealing with regular operations stuff. But it's scary, because then you that's the whole purpose of plot of the book, is that it's scary because it's the other side is kind of unknown, and you have to have an identity shift. It's kind of like your 80%, your belief of how your identity is just the stories that you keep telling yourself, and so you have to release those stories and make a new story about what the 10x jump is going to be. And so so it's scary. It's like saying no to smaller accounts and just stuff like that forces that 10x.
I feel like we're cut from sort of the same rope or cloth a little bit, because I'm also reading a book and it's kind of manifestation. It's, you have to manifest what you want and what you want to see.
What book is it?
Well, so this is stupid. I've read this 3 times, but my personal trainer, I hired a trainer back in January. I just said, if I wanted to be the best version of myself as a CEO, as a business leader, I need to hire a nutritionist, I need to hire a personal trainer, and then I also need to hire an executive coach. January 3rd is when I made all of those decisions, but I have demons within me that struggle with motivation, struggle with eating. Sometimes I eat too much. Sometimes, I go out and have too many cocktails, things like that will then affect my next day and the next move. So he told me, here are 3 books that you need to read, but one of them is The Secret. I've read The Secret before.
Yeah, I have.
But 37 years old, I'm listening to the audio version of it, and I'm driving down the road, and a lot of it right now is talking about manifestation.
Yeah.
And it talks about negative things happen to you when you think negatively.
100%. Dude, it's dangerous.
It is so, but then positive things happen to you if you think positively.
Yeah.
So if you're one of the biggest examples that she gave is, you're road raging down the road and you're getting pissed off because you're hitting every red light, and you keep telling yourself, I don't want to be late, I don't want to be late, I don't want to be late. Guess what? You're already telling yourself that you're going to be late.
Yeah. 100%.
And I just gave this as an example to somebody the other day, because they always think that when they walk into something, it's always going to be a problem. And
so it's a problem.
You are walking into a problem because you're creating the problem.
Yeah.
You need to walk into it and say, there's not going to be a problem. We're actually going to make things successful.
Everything's going to flow
perfectly.
And it's also how you tell it to yourself. So if you say, there's not going to be a problem, guess what? You're still looking at a problem.
Yeah.
But if you say, I'm going to walk in and everything's going to be smooth and concise and, airy, that's a different thought pattern. So it's like how you word your verbiage is also important.
I tell my clients all the time that, so we're also travel agents now as well. So on top of this, because we do lifestyle management, we decided to get travel agent certified and be able to support people in that sort of the world too. But I always tell my clients, listen, I've never had an event that's outdoors that it's rained on me, ever. I have a team. We have a pulse on everything. We know, we're telling you what your next gate is. All of these things to prepare yourself to get there. But a lot of times they're the ones that are psyching themselves out.
I have the same conversations with clients. And I use that specifically myself. Like the bullet thing, when that happened, I was like, I'm going to make my flight. I'm going to be there. Everything's going to be fine.
Yep.
I'm just going to release it. There's no point in stressing because I'm going to be there. So
100%.
it's all fine. And it works, dude. It works for me. And people set up these energetic blocks for themselves, and they don't get past them. And I've had deep level coaching with my clients too, where it's like, do you want me to tell you the real truth, or are you receptive, or do we just want to push past this and say that that's the problem, because I'll tell you either way, So and I'm huge on the esoteric aspect of success. I think energy, manifestation, law of attraction, all of that is literally how I built my foundation of my business now. And it's not a major, huge business, but it will be potentially one day, and
not potentially, it will be.
For sure.
See, 100%. Potentially is kind of doubting what's on the horizon.
No, it will be massive. And I know that it's just time. The only thing is just time.
Just be patient. I mean, it's happening. Yeah. It's happening. Summerlin, we're going to get the next studio. And I don't know if you know, but there's a studio on the other side of the freeway off of Paradise called View Studios.
Oh yeah, dude! I think I saw it on your.
Yeah, so I
like their LED walls for, but I have them like I'm like, all right, when I do, that's where I'm going.
Oh, it's insane. It's floor to ceiling. It's a huge curved. I mean, I've seen them film anything from a movie. I've seen them do commercials. Carrie Underwood, Shaquille O'Neal, Mark Wahlberg.
Dude,
the Raiderettes were in there last week doing things, so it's...
Dude, well, we could freaking be here all day. Like, literally, I want to continue to keep talking, but I want you to get some time with Jeff I so that we could get you out of here in time.
Awesome.
At least you'll get 25 minutes with them. So.
I love it.
Dude, well, thank you so much
Likewise.
for coming by, Travis. This is great. Hopefully, we can continue to keep growing our relationship. So
awesome. Thank you, sir.
Thanks for coming
by, Appreciate you.
Peace. Anyways, that's it.